Hello, welcome to today's webinar. We're going to give it a couple of seconds here just to make sure that everybody is joining. We have quite a few RSVPs. Rick is here and I'll introduce him in a second, but let's give us 1 second here.
Hey, and Stacy, let's remind everyone that there is a handout too, that they can go down there and click and print for a long-term resource.
Yeah, and I think, Rick, you're going to be kind of referring to some of that in as you're talking.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
11 whopping pages.
Hey, everybody loves a handout. Well, I think we're slowing down a little bit, so why don't we get started? Welcome to today's webinar, Get More Leases and Long-Term Residents Using the Secret Weapon, FEP. My name is Stacy Wolke, and I'm the Senior Sales Executive here at Grace Hill. I want to personally thank you for joining us. I want to extend a special welcome to all our Grace Hill, Ellis, and Edge to Learn customers. Today's webinar will demonstrate how to create a positive relationship by communicating value in an FEP manner. Leasing is all about relationship building, but it comes across as most genuine when you also solve a problem, scratch an itch, and bring value. But what is FEP? Well, you're going to have to wait and hear about it from our special guest. Before we get started, I just want to go through a couple housekeeping items. Today's webinar is being recorded and will be shared with all of the registered attendees later this week. As an attendee, you'll be in listen-only mode. This will help any outside noise and disruption so that everyone can hear today's presentation without interruption. Also, you will notice, as Rick just mentioned, we do have a handout you can download from the handout section. It's about 11 pages worth of good information. If you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat box located on your screen. We've got somebody behind the scenes checking on them, but we will have a question and answer at the end. So I am excited to formally introduce today's speaker. And I believe he is going to show us another picture here. Rick Ellis has been intimately involved in the apartment business for over 40 years. He quickly started as an on-site assistant manager and leasing consultant. Rick rose quickly through the ranks to direct a fast-growing apartment portfolio from 2 properties in the Dallas area to over 5,000 units in 3 states. In 1984, he founded the Ellis Consulting Group in Irving, Texas. And Rick also founded the largest apartment mystery shopping company in the US. Rick does not just speak about property management, but practices it daily through his management company, Ellis Home Source. Rick is also the broker and owner-operator of J. Ellis Apartment Locators in Lewisville, Texas. Rick lives in Coppell, Texas, and I hope I said that right, Rick.
Coppell.
See, I should have asked. With his wife and best friend Diane. Their 3 Cavalier Spaniels, Belle, Mac, and Hart. Oh, those are so cute. They have 4 adult children and 1 precious granddaughter so far. Rick is a graduate of Abilene Christian University with a bachelor's and master's degree in theology. He holds a Texas real estate broker's license and is an Eagle Scout. And as we all know, Rick loves Monday. Please welcome Absolutely. To our virtual stage. There you go, Rick.
Hey guys, thanks so much. Looking forward to spending an hour with you here to talk about wow. And we're going to do some foundation work here. We're actually broadcasting, even though we're based in Irving, Texas. I'm broadcasting today live from our Clarence Center, New York studios. You might even hear one of those Cavalier Spaniels. You never know. They like to come in. And I've got a view out the window here that's really nice. We're up in Western New York and near Niagara Falls. So we see a little of few of these guys around. It's going to be a nice day here in Western New York. 61-degree forecasted. It was actually cold this morning. We had the heat on. But either way, it's going to be a beautiful day in the neighborhood, and I hope it's a beautiful day for you. Guys, I know you got lots on your mind, and you've volunteered pretty much to be in this webinar. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for taking some time out of your busy life. You've got stuff that's much more important than me, and I get that. I mean, you got things at work, you got stuff at home, and I understand. I've got things more important too. My wife Diane, who's really done a great job, keeping our puppy dogs quiet, and our kids, Jojo, Philip, JR and AJ, all of them are part of the whole family thing here. JR actually does apartment selling transactions with Grace Still in Austin and in San Antonio. He runs that region. And Philip, I actually worked with JR and helped him with some renovation of properties that they've bought. So we're all in the family here. And also, if nothing else, guys, I want to make sure that I'm informative, more for your money, right? Did you know today, May 17th, is National Walnut Day? Yeah, no kidding, celebrate. I got to warn you too. I think you've already had a little bit of a preview of that, but I do in fact love Mondays. It's not some kind of webinar deal that I do. I actually love Monday. And people that don't love Monday, it's kind of crazy. They look like this. And sometimes what happens to them, they really lose their wow. And they start dreading Monday on Sunday, and they end up ruining both days. Come on, guys, you don't want to do this. You don't want to let a bad day, even if it's Monday, create a less than wow engagement and presentation with your prospects, right? Look, just think about this. Monday is a great do-over day. Once a week, you get a do-over. It's the perfect day to correct last week's mistakes, to celebrate, last week's victories. So do me a favor. It's just 4 days away, 5 days away. I want you to think about really celebrating this Monday. And get that do-over. Don't wait till the new year. That's too long. Every week we get a do-over. Also, let me say something here. We're going to repeat a few items you already know. I know we got some smart folks here, but guess what? We're doing that because they're important and they're all about the wow. Plato said this, so it's got to be true. The greater part of instruction, being reminded of the things you already know. I may do that, and I'm not going to apologize. My question is, if you know it, are you implementing it? Are you doing it? And if you're wondering, is wow really that big a deal? I mean, do we really need to be wow in our presentations and our engagements with prospects and residents? You better be wow. Look at this. This is from today. That multifamily under construction is near record amounts. Even with the economy that we may be having, even with the interest rates going up. And so it's not just multifamily, but even single family, and a lot of single family being built to rent. All of this means that more than ever, we need to get our wow on, because we've got to make sure that we have a leasing presentation, that we have an engagement online, on the phone, and in person that people are going to remember, that they're going to talk about, And so we're going to start off with stuff that's not as fun and sexy, because, look, there's some really important wow essentials. It's where you got to start, and you can't get too excited and miss the foundation. Otherwise, your wow will just come off like hype instead of something really genuine and something really memorable, something really impactful, right? So let's start from the beginning. I think, as I was introduced, they mentioned that my master's degree is in theology. So, I have to ask these deep questions all the time. Why do I exist? Don't get that deep on me. I'm not, just what are we here for? No, I mean, what are we here for in this webinar? What are we here for as on-site professionals? That's what I'm asking. Okay, let's not get too deep today. Okay, so think with me just for a minute here. And you can look at page 2 in your handout. You got it? Are you there? Are you there? Page 2? Yeah, good. Let's ask the question, why are we here as on-site professionals? What is it all about? Well, what are we here to do? And here's some answers you hear all the time. They're on your handout there. We might be here to provide the best rental housing, right? Is that why you're here? Do you provide the best rental housing? Really? Well, the guy next to you in the next property may not think that. Look, providing the best rental housing is not the goal. In fact, frankly, maybe no one in this whole webinar provides the best rental housing. Because anytime you have the best, someone's going to build something even better, whatever best means. Of course, what you do want to focus on is having the best rental housing for the people who call your community home. Now, that's a goal that's worth looking for. How do you provide the best rental housing for the people that actually live in your community? That's the ones you want to provide the best for. Okay, are we here to take care of our residents? We love our residents, right? Oh, sure we do. Yeah, do you really love them? Have you paid their rent lately? Have you ever, I've paid my daughter's rent, but I've never paid a residence rent. Is that love? Think about it. Is that really why we're here? Are we here to lease more apartments? Well, yeah, Rick, you're talking about wowing your rental prospect, right? Isn't that why we're here? We do all these things, but that's not exactly why we're here. Maybe you might say to collect a paycheck so you can feed your family. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But again, I'm trying to get a little deeper than that. I mean, why are we? Are we here for just the joy of hard work? Hard, meaningful work? Is that why we're here? All right, guys, very, very noble answers, but that's not what I'm looking for, guys. That's not the answer we're looking for. And again, this is all about wow. You know, don't get ahead of me here. So let's get deeper again. Another deep question. You know, and I've got this on page 3, so you can actually fill in the blanks. Sorry, trying to keep you engaged here. Okay, who is the on-site professional's most important customer? Not just the leasing pros, but the service tax, everybody. Who's the most important customer on site? I mean, what's the answer? You know, I'm asking you, who's number one? You might put in your idea on the chat. Who is in first place? You know, let's think through this, okay? You know, all our careers, we've been crammed down our throat that the customer's number one, right? Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But who is our number one customer? Is it really the resident? You know, if it was the resident and they didn't pay rent and they were number one, we'd say, no problem, come on back. We'll catch you next month. If the resident really was number one, if we really loved our residents and they were beating each other up, you know, in the apartment or changing out the engine in their car, you know, in our front parking lot, we'd just say, it's okay, you're number one. Or if they had that big old moving truck backed into the courtyard, the freshly sodded courtyard, living those 12-inch grooves in that nice sod, we'd say, it's okay, you're number one. Is that ever happened? I mean, really, guys, let me just make sure we understand, because this has everything to do with wow. The number one customer we have in this business, and it is a business, is our owner, our investor. Let me remind you guys, we do something really unique. We provide one of life's basic human needs, that's shelter. And for that, we can really feel good. But it is a business. It's not a charity, right? It's not church, it's not heaven, it's not Disneyland. Those things are better. But it's all about making a profit. Are you with me? And so I want us to think in terms of when we wow, why do we wow? And I'm telling you, we wow because our owner is number one. Who's number two? The resident? No, guess what? You get to be number two. In fact, you're right there near number one. In fact, maybe almost level, because without you, the on-site team, then we wouldn't really be able to properly wow our rental prospects for the owner. Why do we wow rental prospects? Well, think about it, guys. Number 3, the resident and the prospects. It's not that they're less important, but it's just that the owner's more important. Now, wait a second. We're not going to put a big old banner up in our office that says our residents are number 3. That'll never fly. But what I want to remind you is that it's a business, and the way that we make the owner number one is we treat the resident and the rental prospects as though they're number one. And every day we come to work, you know, because we're number 2, and we hold hands and sing Kumbaya, and we think of ways that we can create value for the owner. In fact, look at page 4 here. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but what is it that our number one customer really wants? If the owner investor is number one, you know, well, what do they want from us? What do they want us to do? Again, is this charity? Is this church? Is this, no, this is a business, right? And I believe I can say with 100% truth that what our owners want us to do is make money. Did you hear me? Our owners want us to make money. You got a problem with that? Please tell me you don't. You know, you wouldn't work for free, would you? I know you love your job, and I love doing webinars and training and consulting, but I wouldn't work for free. Why would the owner work for free? It's a great thing we do, providing housing, but we got to remember, we do this to make money for the owner. And by doing that, we make money for ourselves. So let's think this through again here. What's our purpose? It's to lease more apartments? Nope. To provide the best rental housing? You think? To take care of our residents? Yeah, we do all those things, but we do that. Why? To make the owner happy. That's what we're supposed to do. We're here to put more money in the owner's pocket. And let me show you why this is really important. Because sometimes when you're not sure what to do, when you're not sure whether you do A or B, I promise you, if you'll remember your mission, your objective, your purpose as an on-site professional, that it's plain and measurable and constant, that you exist for one reason and one reason only, to enhance the value of the apartment community. If you remember that, you'll always make the right decision. You'll always have the right kind of wow. Don't worry, we're getting to the wow part, but I want to set this foundation because it's so important. Without the foundation, you're not going to have the kind of genuine wow that really makes an impact. So don't worry, this is not a political statement, okay? Don't even go there. Remember this guy had this show called The Apprentice? Remember this guy had this show on the TV called The Apprentice, and he would always go around saying, "You're fired." Well, I want to fire you guys all right now, but don't worry, I'm going to immediately hire all of us. You know, this includes the Grace Hill team, the on-site teams at your properties, me, everyone. We're going to all be rehired with this really new, great title and position as value enhancer. We are now value enhancers. That's us. That's all of us. And we're here to do one thing only, and that's to increase the value of the property. Now, hang with me, guys. We're talking about wow, but we got to understand why the wow. So if we're going to increase value, I'm going to give you 5 things that you do to enhance the value of the property, and you'll see that every one of them is about wow. You know, we're going to increase property income and decrease property expenses. We're on page 5. You got your hand out? You there? Are you there? Good. Now, look, to do that, obviously, we got to collect the rent. All the rent on the 3rd or the 4th. You know, in most states, guys, rent's due on the 1st. It's late on the 2nd. We just give people a grace period sometimes, don't we? You know, we also got to maintain occupancy. Now, I just chose 95%, but if your market is 97%, you're going to be 98 because you're not average. You're above average, right? And if your market maybe is 92%, that's average. Well, you're not average, so you're going to be 94% because you're not average. But it's important to maintain occupancy. And of course, we're talking about economic occupancy, residents that are paying rent. You know, and even with all that going on, we're focusing on the numbers. We understand that every month we're increasing income, every month, just a little bit. Oh, what if we have a down month? We're still looking where we can increase income. And then on top of all of that, we've got to maintain the property and show continual improvement. You guys, you have to do this if you're going to really have the wow. And then what's going to happen, by the way, is your turnover will go down. And you know, I've got on here, the slide says maintain a 5% or less monthly turnover. Hey, that may be way too much in your market because that's 60% per year. You know, in some parts of the South, that would be great. But whatever average turnover is, you're going to be below that because, you know, you're not average, right? So here's the deal. Whenever you're not sure what to do, you're not sure whether to do A, B, or C, you just ask yourself this question: what will best increase the value of the property? And that's almost always the answer. And by the way, you know, I do realize this is kind of a creepy slide. That's weird. That's weird. Yeah, don't you think? Okay. Look, to reach the objective of increasing the value, collect the rent, high occupancy, increase property income every month, maintain the property, and eliminate resident turnover, or at least turn it down. And that's what's going to make us value enhancers. Just like my team. This is my property management company. And we think about it all the time. How do we enhance the value of the property, the value of the houses that we manage? Now, here you go. Look at page 6, guys. Are you there? Are you there? Good. What's the big deal? I mean, we wow. Why? Well, because a lease is valuable. anytime we can wow and lease more apartments, we're enhancing value. And I just want you to look at what just a mere $1,000 a month lease is all about. First, it creates $1,000 in monthly income, yeah, which means $12,000 in annual income. And if you have like maybe a class B property, even C, your 12,000 in annual income creates $200,000 in property value. That's using a cap rate of 6%. If you're on an A property, that 12,000 in annual income might be producing as much as $400,000 in property value. Trust me on that one. It's another webinar, but it's all about getting that income in. Now, what about this? What about not just making a lease, but creating a happy residence? What's the value there when you really wow somebody? Again, paying a mere $1,000 a month. You've got on-time rent because they're happy. They're referring friends, right? You've got another good neighbor for all your other residents, which means people stay longer. And of course, don't forget you get the 5-star reviews when they're happy, right? You get a lease renewal more likely if they're happy. You have a potential rent increase. I mean, no one likes a rent increase, but happy residents will pay higher rent increases. And then even when they do have to move out, what do you get? You get goodwill after the move out. See, this is why we wow. When we wow our prospects into renting, we get income and we get happy residents, which meet our goal of enhancing the value of the property. Okay, let's kind of do a little more settling here. Look at page 7, and let's look at just the bare minimum of wowing. Okay, acceptable customer service. Let's see what that means here. That's just the ground level, of wow. First of all, number one, we're prepared and we're 100% ready. When we walk in the door, we know what's available. This is just a starting point, guys, but you can't get into the high level wow if you don't have the basics. And remember, what that means is that when someone calls and they say, how much is your 1 bedroom? You're not him hawing around. You even know what's coming up if you're 100% leased, right? Second thing is we understand what it means to greet people. We understand the 5 S's of greeting: stop, smile, stand, shake, salutation, because that first impression is so important, and we know that smile is not an option. A good day, bad day, we have the big smile. That's just, the bare minimum in terms of customer service. And we're always accommodating, none of this, no, we can't, never, we don't do that. We don't offer that. We don't take pets. All that stuff is so unwowful. Instead, we're going to be using terms like, let me see what I can do. Well, I'll try to find out, if at all possible. We can't do that, but we can do this. That's just always accommodating a bare minimum in terms of really acceptable customer service. And of course, exceptional telephone skills. We're going to have epic phone presentations, epic phone experiences with our prospects. Gosh, the phone is so powerful. It's not just for texting. Guys, it's talking to people on the phone. It's still critical. It still makes the difference. It's really what I think pushes your occupancy best, if you can be good on the phone. And we understand too that it's all about relationship. Relationship leasing. The result will be more leases, more new residents if we check relationship first and then jump into our so-called sales presentation. And finally, able to handle conflict. Now, I've got a real quick 3 models for conflict resolution at the bottom of this slide. We don't have time for that. We can't cover conflict resolution in less than an hour. But I will tell you this, that the on-site professional has to be better than just simply deflecting conflicts. But we've got to be able to convert them into a lease. We've got to have the ability and the pre-decision, that means we decide in advance, to not take things personally. And if you really have problems with conflict, it might be you. If you're oftentimes berated or beat up at the office by prospects and residents, you need to do some work on that. You need to do some Googling of how to deal with conflict. You know, go to Chat AI and ask the question, how do I deal with conflict at an apartment community office? And you'll get a dissertation there, won't you? Can you I mean, aren't you crazed out by new artificial intelligence? I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? Man. Okay, hey, we're zooming along here. Look at page 8. Don't look ahead of now. I'm looking for one word that best describes the ideal leasing professional. You know, the one that has the ideal wow. What's that one word? And you guys can put it in chat if you want. Maybe yes, maybe Stephanie will come up with one that we really can use and like. I think you probably know where I'm going with this because I've already got one in mind. Now, there's a lot of good words: confident, knowledgeable, warm and friendly, compassionate, focused. I mean, this is a wow person here. They're patient, goal-oriented, good listeners, energetic, interesting, and fun. Yeah, leasing should be fun. Excellent EI, that's emotional awareness, you know. Productive, aggressive, calculating, fair and equal, not even beyond just fair housing, fair and equal. Human and kind, killer instinct, I think so. Professional and mature, but those are great words, and they're great attributes for the professional leasing person. But I'm still thinking of one other, and you know, it kind of has to do with the title of this webinar. You know, I'm messing with you here, aren't I? Okay, how about this? Look at page 8. It's FEP. Yeah, I know, it's an acronym. I couldn't think of one word either. Oh my gosh, that's too hard. We are talking about an acronym that stands for simply friendly, enthusiastic, and professional. Hey, we're talking wow now. This is the wow. And don't say, well, of course. No, guys, you're not getting off that easy. I want you to really walk through FEP with me here. And you tell me if this is just simple stuff. Oh, by the way, there's my Cavalier Spaniel Marley. Just to give you an example of what FEP is, look at that boy. He's FEP. Look at that big smile on little Marley. That's a King Charles Cavalier Spaniel. Yes, that's right. He's okay. Look, friendly. That's the F for FEP. And what I'm talking about is not a feeling you have, but it's how you're perceived by others. It's not just what's in your heart. It's on your face. That's what's so important. Being friendly is critical. It should be in your job description. You have to not be friendly. You have to be perceived as friendly. You know, actually, we don't care if you're friendly or not in real life, whatever that means. We care about how you behave in the office, and it needs to be friendly. To be friendly, no matter how you feel in your heart, you've got to notify your face. And guys, I know you know this. But my question is, are you coming across friendly? Are you being perceived as friendly? It's that important that I would require it or even have you go to friendly school if you're not. Again, I don't want you to change your heart. I'm not trying to ask that. That's too much. I'm just saying, make sure your behavior is friendly. And again, it's in the eye of the beholder, not in what you think is friendly. Enthusiasm, enthusiastic. Love this word. Now, this word is not about hype and bouncing off the ceiling and doing webinars like I'm doing right now, maybe. It's kind of a neat word. The root entheos, you know, is the Greek root of this word enthusiastic or enthusiasm. It's Greek, entheos, entheomos, entheamu, and what it means literally is in God. Don't worry, I'm not going to preach to you. What it meant to the Greek mind is in spirit or in relationship. In other words, enthusiasm has to do with connection with people. It has to do with being able to really know someone's heart and to be able to understand how people feel and to be empathetic about how frustrating and how scary even it can be to look for an apartment and to make that big move. And we're talking about people that have that capacity for relationship. You know, they just know how to connect with people. Enthusiasm, it is the wow magic. And again, you don't have to be the person bouncing off the ceiling. Don't worry. That's not what I'm going to throw on you here. I'm talking about being someone who knows how to connect, again, who has that capacity for relationship. That's the E in FEP. And then, of course, the P word. You hear so much about being professional. And it's great to look professional like these guys. That's great, coat and tie, when appropriate, maybe a little bit too overdressed there. But I'm talking about something much more important than how you look. How you look is just the tip of the iceberg in professionalism. What I'm talking about is the skill or the desire, or the inclination or the aptitude to do and say the right thing in the right way right now. The right thing at the right time right now. And it's much harder than a webinar slide can really say, because being professional takes two things. It takes, number one, experience, and number two, it takes usually education or training. I hope this simple webinar will make you more professional in terms of maybe giving you some ideas about what it means to have a wow presentation. And you don't have to wait for a webinar or even for your company to train you. There's all kinds of great training materials. Grayscale offers an incredible array of online training. There's webinars and seminars available, but don't just wait for somebody. Go search it out yourself. Get educated. Now, the other thing about being professional is experience. And it's great because you can actually become professional by making mistakes. Because every time you screw up, you say to yourself, don't do that again. And you become more professional. You become better at doing and saying the right thing at the right time in the right way right now. Does that make sense? Cool. So we're going to be FEP, friendly, enthusiastic, and professional. And by all means, that equals wow. That equals wow. And that wow is going to translate into a person who knows how to enhance the value of the property. I mean, look, frankly, FEP is the new wow. You got it? You got to be FEP worthy. You got to be FEP'd out. You got to be a FEP maniac, friendly, enthusiastic, and professional. And we're gonna find out that this actually is something that we can decide to do anytime, anywhere, because it's not about how we feel, it's about how we act. Cool. All right. Again, Marley's FEP. Just think, if I'm gonna be FEP, I'm gonna be like Marley. You don't want to be like Chester now. Chester's not FEP. No way. And certainly not like Bernard. Not FEP a bit. And Herkimer, no FEP. None whatsoever. But just in case you wondered, these are real dogs. These are dogs that have won annual ugly dog contests in the US. And people love these dogs, but you don't want them in the leasing office, right? No, you want someone who's friendly, enthusiastic, and professional. And I'm going to harp on this one more minute here, because sometimes people don't really understand. They don't get that it's not how they feel. Like, what do you mean I'm not FEP? Look, I've got on my happy face. Sorry, man, that's not FEP. It's not what you think, it's not what you feel, it's how people perceive you, right? 55% of face-to-face communication comes from what you see. 38% comes from the tone of voice, and only 7% comes from the words you use. So the FEP is all about how people perceive you. It's the magic. I'm asking you, are you FEP worthy? Are you FEP worthy? And of course, another huge wow essential is are you likable? Are you genuinely likable? And you're going to thank me for this, because on page 9 are 11 things that most charming people do. And you can do them too, because it's something you decide. It's really cool. Or are you hard to like? I don't know. Maybe that's you. I mean, do people ever say you're difficult? You know what that means, don't you? When someone's difficult, that means they're not likable. Yeah. Don't be difficult. Come on. Here's what people do, that are genuinely likable. Just real quick, okay? They shift the spotlight to others. It's not always about them. They're not always tooting their horn. They're tooting other people's horns. They listen a lot more than they talk. That can be hard sometimes for us leasing people, can't it? Right? Uh, they don't practice selective hearing. Sometimes my wife says I do that. I try not to. I mean, in other words, we're really listening to understand, not just listening to plan how we're going to respond to what's being said. You got that? Look at number 4. They're thoughtful simply because they want to be, not because they're going to get something for it, not because they're doing quid pro quo. They're just thoughtful, And look at number 5. They put away their stuff. I go to Starbucks every morning, at 5:30 actually. I love it. And I can't get over some people that will go and sit at a table and then just get up and move and leave all their stuff on the table. Their dirty cups. Yeah, sure, it's not a restaurant with white tablecloths, but they just don't put their stuff away. For me, that's not a very likable person. Look at number 6. They give before they receive, and sometimes they never receive, and that's okay, because they do know that what they say, it is more blessed to give than to receive. Genuinely likable people. They also don't act self-important. That kind of person, right? Does that person have wow? Do you want to lease an apartment from a leasing professional that thinks they're really something? Because most genuinely likable people realize that other people are actually more important. I mean, they really believe that, and when they don't believe that, they still act like that. And number 9, they choose their words carefully. They choose their words carefully. They think about what their words will mean to the people that hear them. They don't discuss the failings of others. That's called gossip, by the way. But they readily admit their own failings. Wow. That's the kind of person, that you want to be hooked up with in life. That's the kind of person that you want to work for. That's the kind of person that you want to be your employee, right? It's definitely the kind of person that you want to lease an apartment from. Someone who is, by all means, likable, likable. Wow. Likable equals wow. It's a critical wow essential, being likable. Again, it's not what you feel, it's what other people feel about you. I will tell you this, if people think you're likable, life for you is better. It really is. Okay, Rick, but all these wow fundamentals, these wow essentials, but what about some really wow tips? How are we gonna really wow our rental prospect? I got them, don't worry, we got them right here. They're on page 10, the top 10 wow tips for your rental prospect. Now, what I'm starting with, right? Of course, I've got to start with number 1, FEP. It's the pixie dust that really creates the wow. And it again has everything to do with the leasing and being liked. When you're likable, when you're FEP, prospects like to lease from you. And then that sounds sort of like, duh, but it's profound because prospects hate to lease from people they don't like. And look at this, prospects will pay more rent to a leasing professional they like. And they're going to lease better, less resistance, less objections when they like you. It's important to be FEP. That's critical. Second, wow tip is respond. Respond, and I mean respond right now. Oh my goodness, sometimes it seems like on-site professionals act like they're just off the clock or something. Here's the deal: right now means right now. If someone wants to see your community and they're coming in this weekend, right now is going to be 10 o'clock Saturday morning, right? If someone's 30 minutes away, right now to show them is 30 minutes. Get them there right now. Oh, time out for a minute here. Look, think about this. Do you want to be the expert, the on-site expert of wow, or just the salesperson, just the leasing agent? Well, if you want to be the expert, you got to answer the stinking phone. Answer the dang phone. When the prospect calls and you answer, you're the expert. They're in the mode to lease apartments, right? They're thinking that. That's why they're calling you, or even when they're inquiring online. respond now because they're in that mode. If you call back in 2 hours or 2 days, you're just an interruption. You're a salesperson. And that's why the phone is so powerful. I don't want to sound like a boomer because I are one, but listen, we do contract leasing all over the country. And our secret weapon, our secret FEP wow weapon is answer the phone. Yeah. Oh, I know we got a lot of great call centers that really help us a lot when we can't. But guys, if you answer the phone, you're the expert. If you call back later, you're just a salesperson. All right. Mesmerizing online experiences. Well, you know this better than I do. Good night. What makes a good website and why it's important to have one is critical. And we don't have time to actually cover that in this short of a webinar. But all I can say is check with some of the people out there that know what they're doing, like the Grace Hill team, and find out, is our website really what it has to be competitive in today's, very saturated leasing world. Be prepared online, on the phone, in person. What I'm talking about is none of this when someone calls for a 1-bedroom, you have to put them on hold to check. No, we always know what's going on. And when someone asks online for this or that, you're able to respond quickly. I mean, your autoresponders may work, but you jump in even on top of that and make it really personal. And of course, when someone walks in the door, it's stop, stand, smile, shake, salutation. You're there. You're prepared. You're ready. Number 5 is really important. This is advanced wow stuff here. It really is. Now it seems simple, but remembering the prospect's name and their story. And we've got good CRM, applications on our software to help us do this. But I'm talking about, sure, you make the appointment, you connect with the prospect, you're personable, you're likable, but did you remember their story? Did you ask the right kind of questions to get their story? So that when they finally walk in or even call you, on the phone, you're going to say, oh yeah, hi Laura. Yeah, you were looking for the 1-bedroom for the fall semester, right? Yeah, hey, congratulations on the scholarship. That's really neat for debate. I didn't know they did that. That's cool. And hey, did you bring Max? Max is our cat, All that's going to make that prospect go, wow, they really remembered me, And frankly, we can put the kind of notes in our CRM, software that could help anyone in the office greet Laura with that same sort of wow, remembering her name and story. Make sense? Good. Okay. Be clear about community value. Okay. Listen up, guys. This is something where I'm shifting gears a minute here. We're talking about wow, being likable, being genuine, all those kind of things that you can kind of control and really connect with people. But don't kid yourself. Don't kid yourself. Value is even more important than relationship. No one's ever going to lease only because you're friendly, enthusiastic, and professional, unless professional means you understand how to present your property's value. And this could be a whole different webinar, Grace, maybe we can do that, but you've got to know what your property's value propositions are. A value proposition is what differentiates us from everybody else. What makes us unique? What services do we offer that's different, or that we can at least remind people of? Even if your value proposition is your price, you've got the best price. How do you present that? Convenience and time saving is a huge commodity today in today's society. How do you save people time? What are your unique value propositions? Is it maybe that you're across the street from a train station? Or are you able to tell someone about a neighborhood and be the information guru, which creates value for your property? If you don't know what that is, if you don't know what your property's value proposition is, I want you to put that on your to-do list for today. Number 7 is personalize the experience. There's so many ways to do that that I would run out of time. But there's a classic way you do. You know their dog's name. You get a cheap dog water dish and you put the dog's name on it when they come in. It's really cool. People will love that. Or they like certain kind of food. You come in and you've printed a map, just a Google map, and you've circled the good restaurants. I mean, it's really easy. It's not expensive, but it makes for a really nice, memorable wow when you personalize stuff. Just listen to their story, listen to what they're doing, listen to what they're needing. All those things. Like if you've got college students, you don't have just a bag for them to get a gift when they come in. You've got a gift or several gifts that you can use that are personalized to their specific new college student story. You know what happens too? You have a lot more fun leasing that way. Oh, technology. Oh my goodness. Guys, I don't know how to keep up anymore. I really don't. I mean, just having the smart locks, all the smart home package, with the thermostats, with the video doorbells, with the dimmers. We've got smart intercoms, of course, guided tours. That's in fact, that's almost old stuff, isn't it? I just saw something today that just freaked me out. Artificial intelligence is going crazy. This little company here will allow you to pick an avatar from about 160 different people, and you can type in the message or the training or the greeting, 120 different languages, and then even more different accents, and you can create a video that looks just like a human being. I mean, I don't know why, but it just makes me excited and scared at the same time. And that's going to be passé in another 6 months, right? Look, can't you remember these things that were really wow at one time? Chat bots, smartphones, video tours, online videos. Of course, those two things, video tours, I mean, everybody expects that now. It's not a big deal. Aerial drone videos. The first one you saw, so cool. The second one's cool. Now it's like the normal part of a website. Online real-time availability. When it first came out, that was neat. I thought it was cool. Now I expect it. Online applications, online rip payment. Of course, everybody does it. I remember when fax machines came out. Yeah, I'm older than you. And now that's nothing, right? Even rent optimization software. See, things just come and they go. And they're only wow if we use them at the right time, right? But none of these are any more cutting edge, right? None of them cutting edge. Instead, we've got to realize that it really is the little things that customers remember. This cartoon that I found, I probably should have put it on a webinar here, but look at the guy says, he says, I don't know why you like them so much. It's not like they wow you over the top with customer service. And the lady says, well, it's nothing big. They remember my name and they talk to my kids. It's the little things that wow me. Wow. That is a wow, isn't it? Again, I'm going to give you some really grandiose ideas, but is it really? I mean, okay, let's make sure it's memorable, including the environment. Now, not everybody can have a memorable leasing center, one that's award-winning. But even if you have something as simple as a Target behind your desk, can't you see how you can connect that? Yeah, I was really targeting you, or you're the right target for us. Even when you do your callbacks, you can say, yeah, we're the guys that had the Target in the back. If you have a great lobby, you better use it. Your leasing office, your lobby is your front door. I mean, and if it can be this memorable, you better make darn sure that you use that. I would hate for someone just to sit in front of your desk and not really see the leasing center as a destination. I mean, to sit down there even and talk and enjoy the fireplace. I mean, that's something that people can remember. You could say, hey, yeah, we had the fireplace right there in the middle of our lobby. I like this. I am home. I'm afraid to tell you what company this was. I forgot which one it was, but all their properties have I am home in the leasing center. Isn't that a great memory jogger when you do your callbacks? Legacy, of course, does this. I like that, having Legacy as a memory jogger. Hello, cool. I mean, would you not remember this? Hello, hello, hello. I like that. Look, even if you have a simple office, you can have something that can help people remember. If this was my office, when I did my callbacks, I'd say, yeah, you remember, we're the guys with the steer. I wouldn't even point to the steer and say, I wouldn't steer you wrong. I don't know, mannequins. We've used mannequins in lease ups. They do get folks' attentions. They really do. Is that too much though? I don't know. Maybe. It certainly would be memorable, wouldn't it? Maybe it's just way too much. Anyway, okay. Again, it's the little things, isn't it? It's the little things that really do wow you. Okay, and then finally, a remarkable departure. Now, this is President Obama saying goodbye to a dignitary. But if you noticed, the President of the United States walked their guest out to the car. What do you have when you have friends visit you at your house that you really love, and your family? You walk out to the car with them, don't you? I'm not saying you should walk out to the car with your prospect necessarily, although we used to have a leasing professional that did that all the time, and she was a top producer, and she would walk them out like you do a friend, like you do a family member. But whatever you do, it's got to be remarkable and memorable, not just see ya, thanks. And finally, let me give you one more, 10 plus one here. And man, this is one that we all struggle with, but it's such a wow if we just do it. And that's follow up, follow through. How often do you follow up? How often should you follow up? Until they tell you to stop. I mean, guys, you may follow up 5, 6, 10 times and get the lease if you just follow up. Okay, finally, and we'll wrap it up here on page 11, of course. Here is your wow follow-up action checklist. And I don't want you to just go, oh, that's nice. I want you to really think and act. What is 1 or 2 wow behaviors you will add to your leasing presentation right now? Not tomorrow, right now. Come on. I mean, it's just 3 o'clock Eastern time. Look at the second one. What's the most memorable part about your community? And how can you work that in to your leasing presentation? How can you make that a part of your leasing presentation, more fully incorporated so people remember you over the other folks? Look at number 3 there. What technology do you already have that you can take advantage of right now? You may have a whole toolbox of great technology that you're not using. In fact, I bet you do. I bet you do. Look at this. What differentiation makes your community or your location or your management company most unique? And how can you use that to make wow? I mean, is there an experience people have at your property that you can refer to? And then finally, identify your community's 3 leading values. What's your value proposition? And let's say it's got to be more than just price. Although if you are the price leader, use that to your advantage. Hey, there you go, guys. I hope you got a lot of wow from my webinar. I hope we wow you out. And I hope it was award winning. But thanks so much for the time. Thanks for the courtesy of hanging with me. And I think I'll turn this back over, to Grace Hill. And you guys will have, by the way, a chance to turn a survey in at the end. We'd love to hear from you. What'd you like? What'd you not like? All that good stuff.
Well,
thanks,
thank
guys.
you, Rick. That was you led us through some important content in such a fun and engaging way. Before we dive into question and answer, I want to let everybody know that if your team is struggling with any of the topics today, our team is here at Grace Hill and we can help. We truly understand the struggles of compliance along with the excitement of career advancement. With our industry leading policy survey, training, and assessment, you can proactively set the standard for your team, giving them the professional development they crave. Our experts are available for a personalized demo and consultation after today's webinar to discuss your team's development goals. Text the words FEP in the chat box and a member of our team will connect with you shortly. But now we're going to get to some question and answers. I'd like to welcome anybody to type in questions using the chat box on your screen, and we'll answer as many as time will allow. Rick, I'll let you answer the questions coming in.
Thanks, Stacy.
Yeah. It looks like we've got our first one.
What makes a good website? You're right. That's a good future topic of training. I think one thing that makes a good website is, frankly, that it still loads quickly, and that it moves, gracefully. But I think what people want to know, really quickly is how much. And I think sometimes if we try to hide that too much, people click on. The other thing about a good website is that it shows diversity. And I love, the fact that we have these great photos that we have to pay for and use on our websites, but look for some diversity so that your website says we are inclusive and we love everybody, and whoever you are, we want you to click and submit right now. Do you have an offline book or something can you get tips on improvement? Thank you for asking. Write down the name Seth Godin, Godin, Seth Godin. He is my marketing guru. And I guarantee you guys that to get his daily blog will constantly give you tips for marketing. Also, don't forget the training that's offered by Grace Hill right here. You may not be familiar with the array of topics they have. And there's a lot of free stuff on the site too. So that's another great place to start. But as far as marketing, Seth Godin, his blog is incredible. What you said enhance the value of the property. What are the things that a leasing agent can do to do that? You're the key in terms of enhancing value, frankly. Assuming we have our expenses in place, every lease that you do at the highest rate possible with the least amount of incentive enhances the value. It pushes up the rental rates. And then the way you lease, when you lease people for the long term, in other words, they have this wow experience up front, and when they move in, it's a continued wow experience, right? And it just makes them want to stay. And I think the leasing professional is like the leader in terms of enhancing value. They really are. Godin, Godin, Seth Godin, Godin. Oh, working a brand new lease up. You know something? I don't want to frustrate you, but a brand new lease up starts way before the lease up starts. And if you haven't already plowed the field for your lease up, then you're behind already. But I'll tell you this, on new lease ups, you've got to really make sure that all your wows are in place, because you have the advantage of being new, and people love new, and don't forget that as being one of your value propositions. How do we maximize our efficiency if we don't have newer technology to utilize? Any alternative options? Well, there's a lot of inexpensive, technology. You could actually have a Ring camera as one of your move-in gifts, and add technology. The other thing is that there's so many companies right now that provide. There's properties that are offering property-wide Wi-Fi now, and there's new technology that allows that, and that's a real. I think that's going to be I think it's going to be a standard part of an amenity package soon. Yeah, we have Wi-Fi. You just plug in, just like you did at a hotel.
Well, I think that means that I think all of our questions have been answered for now.
Cool.
And some good questions there. And I wrote Seth's name down because I'm going to definitely, it looks like we have one more question. How can we reach Rick?
Well, thanks.
They want you.
Well, it's just like the Ellis name here. It's ellisconsulting.com. ellisconsulting.com. And we do a lot of things that just have to do with basically troubleshooting properties. So, I would point you back to the Ellis here with Grace Hill in terms of some of those shopping and marketing and operating procedural and training needs that you might have.
Yeah, we're always happy to help with that.
Ellis
So
Consulting.
if you enjoyed today's content, there's more on the way. Next month, the amazing Alicia Anderson is going to be joining us to share her award-winning presentation on intersectionality and her perspective on the complexities of disability and how it relates to an individual's overall identity. She'll share examples of famous individuals who also happen to be disabled, and will dive into the intersections of their lives as well as her own. We hope to see everybody on June 22nd, so mark your calendars. Thank you all for attending today's webinar, and a special thank you to our expert guest speaker, Rick Ellis. Make
Thanks,
it a
guys.
great day. Thanks, Rick.
Thanks, Stacy. Thanks, Stephanie.